So rivalry week continues yet again, and we're here live on Ballard Sports Media coming at you. I am using my phone. Computer is having technical issues this morning, but we're here, and we're here to talk about the game with my boy Nate the Great. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. Before we get started, let me get that ticker up at the bottom. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Y'all be sure to hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. We're here all week long getting out previews and talking about the biggest weekend, personally, in my opinion, and maybe everyone else's opinion in college football rivalry weekend. Nate, let me start by asking this. When this week gets here
Oh,
every single year for the college football season, what's the
mhm.
first thing that pops out to you?
Ohio sucks. well,
What's that?
you mean the rivalry or just the rivalries in general?
Like
Like,
rivalries in general, once this week gets here in the
um,
season.
it's basically hate week. Just saying, a bunch of fan bases will give you crap. Well, but not fan bases. The opponent fan base will give you crap and stuff. Like your rival fan base, like
Yeah.
Auburn will give fan bases will give you crap and stuff, and you can shot back at them. I'll do the same thing as Ohio State fans, but um, yeah, it's hate week, like you said, and rivalry week is the most important week of all college football, in my opinion. Um, except for the, uh um, oh, sorry. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game for these two teams. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And when I get so excited for rivalry weekend, and I don't know about you. I know there's fan bases out there. I know there's programs. I know that there's expectations for certain teams that the biggest game is to win a national championship. But for some teams, it means beating your rival. And I know I'm an Alabama fan. I understand what our standard is with, winning a national title. But honestly, for me personally, what being the best team in the state of Alabama is a really big deal. And this week we'll have to take care of Auburn. It's a 2:30 kickoff on CBS. Looking forward to it. Is that like I know they're not in the same state, but practically 9 times out of 10, the winner of this game has gone on to play in the Big Ten title game, let alone have bragging rights. Like, is that kind of the viewpoint of Michigan, Ohio State?
yeah, basically the same thing. Also, fan bases hate each other a lot. Um, and and even if like say, for example, um, if I were if you saw a Ohio State fan and let's say you were, for example, a Michigan fan walking down a sidewalk in Columbus or something like that, and they'll give you crap and stuff, and they probably say, "What's that uh, piece of turd on your shirt?" um,
I've seen that happen before too.
yeah, and yeah, they'll give you crap, but not like fist fight or whatever. They'll give you crap though, but yeah. Um,
So yeah, um, I did want to ask though because another rival for Michigan is Michigan State, and of course that's in-state rivals. Why Ohio State over Michigan State for rivalry weekend and for
uh,
so much hype and hatred? Like, why Ohio State?
because it's basically the history of the game and the competitiveness and the fan bases hate each other more. They um, they look to the game as like it's like their rivalry championship game. Basically, it's it's the game, man. it's more than a rivalry. Two universities hate each other, like in every sport. I think, like hockey, cross country, uh, soccer, whatever. They hate each other in every sport they play. So, yeah. Um, and talk about Michigan State. They're our little brother, so I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
them. um,
I got you.
but yeah, like I said, it's more than a rivalry than football. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've seen that firsthand, even as an Alabama fan. Like just watching this game growing up, and
Mhm.
I've known Michigan fans, I've known Ohio State fans, and they just when it comes to this week, man, they get hyped up, they get excited, and they they bring a lot of punch. I think that like for me personally, the Iron Bowl is the biggest rivalry, just from an Alabama fan standpoint. But if you were to ask someone who just loved college football, what the biggest rivalry is, yeah, a lot of people might say the Iron Bowl, but I think most of the people, I think it's kind of a 50-50 tie. A lot of
Mhm.
people, whether they pull for these teams or not, if they love college football in general, they probably tell you 9 times out of 10 straight up, Ohio State, Michigan is the game to watch.
Mhm. And plus,
So,
yeah, uh, yeah, and I agree. Um, um, yeah, and there has been years of Ohio State dominance and stuff, but last year was not. But this year might be redemption or repeating. So, um,
yeah, that's kind of what I titled this stream too. I mean, it's either going to be a repeat year and Michigan wins a second straight, or Ohio State kind of redeems himself. And especially just like last year, there's a lot at stake where these teams are undefeated. These teams are playing for more than just this game. They're playing for a potential playoff spot. They're
mm,
playing for the Big Ten title. And there's even rumors and speculation that even the loser of this game, as long as it's good, could still make the playoffs. So maybe it doesn't. I mean, it matters that you win this game, but at the same time, like if the loser of this game, like Michigan, or if Ohio State were to even lose again, if they still got a really good chance at the playoffs, should there really be much to be upset about if you lose this game, unless it's a really bad score,
uh, if it's we saying like that, if it was a blowout or something like that,
like a blowout? Yeah,
yeah. See, I don't want that type of score as a Michigan fan, and even college football fans doesn't want that at all. But maybe some, but not a lot, because they want to see this game as a great game to watch from history. Um, if if it was a blowout, I would be disappointed as a college football fan. So, um, and even as a Michigan fan too. Uh, so yeah, I don't want to blow out or not. I do not want to blow out at all. I want a close game, down to the wire, classic. That's what I want. Um, but yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest, I always want that even for my particular rivalry games like the Iron Bowl. I always want it to be close. I always want it to be competitive because I think that's what makes a rivalry really special.
yeah.
Um, talk to me real quick about last year. And I remember I was live for this game. You were on, you were cheering, you were excited, you were hyped. what happened last year that y'all were able to pull it off? Other than, I mean, I don't even want to say Ohio State took a step back. I know they lost to Oregon and Michigan, but Michigan just dominated last year. What happened?
Let me just say this: Michigan and their players just wanted more. Actually, that's the key factor. They wanted more than Ohio State, and plus, I gotta tell you, Ohio State was looking ahead, in my opinion, in my point of view, when last year they wanted to go playoff in the Big Ten and win some games, but no, you gotta freaking focus on the game, not look ahead. You gotta look at the game, the rivalry. Okay. Yeah, and it kind of gets me triggered about as a Michigan fan. You can't, you know, um, look ahead. So yeah, that's all I was going to say about that Michigan game last year. Michigan players just wanted more in Michigan staff. So
Yeah, they basically were like, that's kind of like what happened this year with the Tennessee Alabama game. I think it was one of those where they kind of, if you look at those two rivalries, Alabama Tennessee, very long win streak, Ohio State Michigan, very long win streak, finally broken. I
mm-hmm.
think the programs, I think the coaches, the players, they knew what was at stake. And they said, we have finally had it up to here. We've had enough. Let's go out and take care of business.
Yeah, yep, that's would exactly put it too. And yeah, and man, these two teams hate each other at all costs. It's like a hell versus um, yeah,
So let's talk about Michigan for a second.
yeah,
I'm curious. So I don't have the stats pulled up, but talk to me real quick about what you've seen from the run game in Blake Corum this year as he gets ready to possibly go to the draft this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's eligible.
yeah. He's eligible. Um, um, I wouldn't be shocked if he came back if Michigan lost, um, but yeah, um, I think yeah, he's he's a beast in my opinion. He's maybe maybe not, even not even better or even better than Son Haskins in my opinion from last year. Man, he's a beast. He can push around defensive linemen for uh, fight for yards and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a beast. I'm not joking about that. Um, if he leaves for the draft, I wish him well. He was a really, really great Wolverine of all time. Well, not the great Wolverine, but one of the greats if he leaves. But yeah. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember watching him and Hassan Haskins last year just light up the field. And he was a sophomore. He was very young. It was amazing how the offense for Michigan was able to distribute the snaps and um, really
yeah,
just find ways and find rhythm to um, distribute the snaps between the running backs, kind of confuse some defenses, but they made it work with the two back system. And it hasn't really been that way this year too much, but they have used Blake Corum a lot. And I think he's definitely had a breakout season.
yeah, I agree. Sorry.
He's
um,
saying, go blue, go blue.
yep, exactly.
Oh, give me a second. My computer's working now. So let's see if we can get me on the laptop.
Yep. Um, There we go.
All right, we're on the laptop now. Let me. I'm on ESPN too, so we can actually look at the game in particular because the stats are interesting. The teams are really, really good. This is a big rivalry. What's the first thing that sticks out to you with the game day going there with these teams undefeated? Like, what's the first thing that sticks out to you about this year's matchup?
The first thing, what? The first.
The first
Can you
thing that
repeat that,
sticks
please?
out to you about
Oh, this matchup. Okay.
Yeah.
First thing, is talent. And how competitive that talent is. You gotta look at the how many talent you have on that team, which is like Ohio State had like a bunch of 5 stars or whatever on that team, and a bunch of them are freshmen. But but yeah, if and second thing probably, I know you haven't asked that yet, but the second thing I see for this rivalry or this game is the the the, the defense.
okay.
And see how uh, uh, the defense will show up for Michigan Ohio State, and I'm pretty sure that the defense for Ohio State will show up actually. I'm pretty scared for Jay McCarthy against JJ JT Tamel, whatever his name is. He's the edge rusher for Ohio State, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That name's tough to say. Um,
These names,
yeah,
man.
I think it's pretty cool that Ohio State stepped up their defense this year. I think that's what's going to make this game or the game a little bit more special this year. Michigan's got a couple guys too. They bring back Michael Barrett, who's a senior. He's from Valdosta, Georgia. 25 tackles on the year, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks. A guy like that probably going to get pressure on CJ Stroud. The main go-to guy, though, is Colson, Junior Colson, who's a sophomore with 2 sacks, 32 tackles on his own. He's from Brentwood, Tennessee. How have you seen this defense come together this year?
A lot came back. To be honest, but except for the job of Hutchinson. But yeah, it's pretty good in my opinion. Like Mike Morris, I don't know if he's still hurt, but if he's hurt still, Mike Morris, the replacement for Hutchinson, I think. Edge rusher.
Yeah.
He's hurt, I think, still, but I don't know for sure. But if he's still out, man, the defense will have a long day for Michigan. So.
And you said that's if who is hurt? Did you say Morris?
Mike Morris, yeah.
He's got a 20 tackles on the year, 47 sack yards off 7 sacks. 7 sacks is really, really good.
Yeah.
That dude's got some stats on him, and he's definitely someone to watch out for on Saturday.
Yeah, if he's playing. But but yeah, it's gonna be an awesome game in general. But yeah, what else topics you wanted to talk about if you have any? Um,
Yeah. Get back to the offense for a second. JJ
yeah.
McCarthy at quarterback. I think you mentioned a guy in Shoemaker. Let's talk about some of these receivers. You got a tight
Mhm.
end in Luke Shoemaker, who's a senior. He's 6'6", 250. He's got 30 receptions, 2 touchdowns, averages about 10.5 yards a catch, which is really, really good. He's got over 300 yards. Um, you know, he had 2 receiving touchdowns. Finally, made some noise against Illinois in that win, a close win. But what are some of the key factors? You know, or let me ask this: you have all receivers that make plays on Saturday, and Ohio State's secondary has been it's been okay. It is much improved. They've always been able to put good corners and good safeties out there. How do those receivers respond and step up with what they'll face on Saturday?
Um, I I have zero faith in the receivers because they show me nothing at all. Well,
Wow. Okay.
because I think we're just a run offense in my opinion. Um, but if we had to, I just have zero faith in the receivers because I'm actually disappointed because yes, our leading receiver is Rodney Bell, but he has like 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns and a lot of yards.
Right.
That's not really good. Um,
Yeah.
and most of our receivers drop passes and stuff, but I don't know why.
I
But
actually have noticed that. I think your two go-to guys. You mentioned Ronnie Bell, but then you got Cornelius Johnson, who at the very least has the most touchdowns of anybody on the team at 4. He
yeah,
averages about 12 yards. He's got
hmm
even 300 yards on the year, 25 receptions. That's someone that should get the ball more, if anything. I understand Ronnie Bell, who's really, really good. Give him credit. Don't take anything away. Um, but you got a guy in Cornelius Johnson, um, who I think could be a NFL star somewhere.
yeah,
He has had a heck of a career. He's had a great career at Michigan. He is even with 300 yards this year. Um, but this is one of his lowest years in a way, almost. I mean, it's how did he go from having 600 yards and averaging 15.7? Like, has he been hurt this year, or has he just not been stepping up that what we've seen?
for Cornelius Johnson,
Right,
or someone else. Yeah, Curtis Johnson.
Johnson.
He hasn't been stepping up at all. I don't know what happened to him, but he seemed fine last year, but it's last year. But I don't know what happened to him. Maybe his mojo left him. um,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, um, yeah. Like I said, I have zero faith in our receivers. Um,
I got you. And you got to have faith in your receivers, but it is very hard to. And I don't blame you one bit, man. I think that not that they've done a bad job, but clearly the run game is what's carried the offense, and that sometimes the defense has carried the team. You got to keep up with a fast and elite secondary on Saturday, which is going to be
mhm.
hard. And, I personally think that that's where, compared to last year where you had all these receivers, and some of them are even still on the team. I just don't know if the coaching is taking a step back or if they've just gotten lazy. And I don't want to do that to any player and actually call them that. I don't know what
Right.
the deal is. I don't
Me
know
either.
what, but they have taken a step back, and it's probably going to show up and cost them on Saturday if they don't get it
Hmm.
together.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah. Now the running backs, like I said earlier in the stream, um, Corum is the key to win this game, and not Edwards, the go-to punch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
And
Edwards,
especially
yeah,
with,
good.
I was just going to say, especially with who you mentioned in Blake Corum, over 1,000 yards, 245 rushing attempts. He averages 5.9 a carry. He's got 18 touchdowns, a long run of 61 yards. Um, he's the more experienced compared to Donovan Edwards. But how do you utilize a two back system on Saturday to kind of mess with Ohio State's defensive front? Because think about it. No two players are exactly the same. But you guys have two different running backs, like you had last year when you had Haskins, who I think's like with the Titans now or whoever. You had Haskins, and then
Correct.
you had Donovan Edwards, but it was mainly Blake Corum who got the second team reps, and but still saw a lot of action. How do you
Mm-hmm.
use two different running backs on Saturday to your advantage?
To wear down the defense line, actually. Um, if you keep running it, um, just try to wear down the defense. But yeah, um, especially if they, um, I don't know about this, but um, if they do a hurry up offense or something like that, yeah, I doubt they will. But um, I think that could eventually wear down the defense of Ohio State if that happens. If that happens, but I don't know. um, but yeah, I actually missed that play action, the play action, um, passes like the hokey pokey plays with Gaddis and stuff.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's fine.
um, by the way, a goal for USA for World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, but yeah, it's I just hope for a good game. That's all. No blowout, whatever. Um, I just hope for a good game. That's all.
I understand that. I really don't have much questions for you, man. I'm gonna be honest. I did have other stuff to do today, so I didn't like write anything down. But um, is there anything else that you want everyone to know about Michigan
Um,
before they go into this game and we watch it at 11 a.m. on Saturday?
don't doubt him. Do not
Don't
doubt him.
doubt them. Hey, people doubt. Hey, in a way, people doubted them last year. If
Exactly.
you think about it, and they won pretty big. So, I mean, look, this is that game. It's the game, but it's also that game. And I say that about the Iron Bowl too. Rivalry weekend. You watch this and you watch the Iron Bowl. I don't care what else you got planned. Cancel it. Watch these games because this is where anything and everything can and probably will happen. I say it all the time.
Yeah. I agree. And people say, "Oh, if Blake Corum or Dom Ezra is out, don't be surprised if somehow Michigan. I know it's probably not gonna happen, but don't be surprised a um, if a true freshman um, like C.J. Stokes lights up
Uh-oh.
Ohio State. Um, if he does, but he reminds me of Denard Robinson with speed. Uh, although he was a quarterback, but um, don't be shocked about that. Um, if I just like I said, do not doubt him. Do not count him out like most fans always do. Um, that's all. Just don't count him out because they will
Yeah.
put up a fight. But yeah. Um, Anyway, guys, thank you all for having me on Bauer Stream. And let's let's just hope for all rivalry games a good game.
Yeah.
That's all.
Is that
Go
so
blue.
is that everything
Yeah,
you
that's all.
have? Do you want to share your score prediction real quick?
Um,
Because do I need to change it before I put it up there? Because
no, leave it be because I don't want to jinx it.
okay.
But before I go, real quick, go blue and beat the team down south. See ya.
See you, Nate. Thank you for coming on. And he has um, Ohio State winning. What he told me before the stream, 34-31. I'm going to have to go with 35-27 Ohio State over Michigan. I think Ohio State, it's a 7.5 point spread. I do think they cover. I think they win by 8 points. I think this is a team that is mad. I think they got a salty taste in their mouth from last season. I also kind of feel like Michigan kind of has some momentum going for them. I think they got a lot in front of them, a lot to play for. Both of these teams are undefeated. College game day is going to be there. They got a lot to play for. It's only up from here for both of these teams, and neither team that loses should hang their head over a loss. That being said, I want to hear from you guys. What's your score predictions for the game, and who are some key players that you expect to be a key factor in this one? We appreciate Nate the Great for coming on here and wanting to do this stream for us and with us. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Keep your head up. Remember that he loves you always. And I hope everyone has a blessed week. And we also say happy Thanksgiving. More rivalry talk to come this week on Ballard Sports Media. Let me check the chat here. What do we have? Nate says go blue. Sorgi, 38-27 Ohio State. That's a big score right there. That's a big score. That's 11 points. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna stick to mine. I'm gonna say 35-27. So they win by 8. So Sorgi's got me by a field goal for Ohio State at least, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Love y'all. Peace out, and we'll see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving. More rivalry talk coming your way this week on Ballard Sports Media. Love y'all.